Hello, welcome back to Evil Genius Props. My name is Mike, and I'm your evil genius for today. What we're doing today is picking up on part two of making the campaign style watch box. Part one's up here. Here. Just assume one of those corners. Anyway, we're gonna go get you right back into that and start mostly with me complaining. Should be fun. All right, coming in here as a sort of a midpoint and a bit of confession. It's not turning out the way I wanted it to, and I was yesterday feeling really down on it, not happy with it at all, not working on it, and just going, do I need to just chalk this up to lessons learned and that's it for that piece of mahogany, and just sort of, you know, woodworking's not my thing. Fine woodworking anyway. But I had some ideas about it, thought about it a little bit, and sort of rallied, and I'm sort of back and ready to go on it. Hoping to make some more good progress on it today, and maybe finish it up. At least parts of it. There are some stuff that I need to still get in the mail as a piece of campaign inspired woodwork. It does sort of need some little touches that you can't just get at your big box or even necessarily a local woodworking store. So I've got some on order from Lee Valley. But like I said, this happens to me a lot with projects. Sort of I get to a midway point and you're right at the middle of it, and you can see where you want it to go, and it's not going there. So it's really easy to sort of go, well, that just didn't work. The better option is just to roll with it and follow it through and figure out where it's going to end up. It may not be how you thought it was going to be when you started, but that can be a good thing. So I'm going to keep going on it. And, like I said, I think I've got an idea, and hopefully we'll be able to clean this all up and get it to something that I actually want to have on my dresser. So here's what I've done is I went ahead and cut the guides over here. This is going to be the bottom for our drawer. And it's going to fit together like that. So I'm going to cut it off here, cut these ones off. So I just need to measure that out. All right, so this is the main part of the drawer. The back piece is still gluing up at the moment, so it's going to be a minute. But I can go ahead and glue this together, and then that'll let me use that as the basis for the back piece. So just a question of putting in glue, and of course then gluing things up. All right, so we'll put some clamps on these parts to hold those together. That should be enough to keep the drawer bottom in place. All right, we'll let that dry up. While things are drying on the watch box, I'm going to go ahead and do the lining for the shelves, basically. Now for this, I just have some red felt. Picked this up at the fabric store when I made my last watch box. And it looks like this is just about the right size left over there. So smooth that out a little bit. Should I iron this? Yeah, probably. Am I going? No. I'll just complain when it doesn't work out instead. Cut that out. I'm actually going to flip it over because there's marker on this side. And what I'm going to do is use some spray adhesive and spray this all down. And it's going to be a little bit big on the sides. That's okay. We're going to trim that back. And or if I need to, or if I have room, maybe wrap it around the sides a little bit. Now, probably would have been smarter if I had done this before I glued everything together. So what I'm going to do is just sort of squeeze it all in. Didn't completely cut through, but it gave me a lot. Now all I need to do is sort of trim this down. If I didn't want to show off the wood, I would actually do like this and bring the felt up the sides. But I want to show off that mahogany. Got mahogany, I might as well make use of it. Now, in this case, I'm going to get it cut, but I'm not going to glue it down because, as I just mentioned, I want to show off this wood, so I want to finish this before I glue it down. But I can get my angles cut. Gonna put some 1, 2, 3 blocks on here just to help sort of flatten and straighten it all out. Just some extra weight in there. All right, here's where we are on the box. Zoom out a little bit here. So we've got the drawer cut, glued together. We're gonna sand and then put on some runners on the sides of this and also in the carcass here. Speaking of the carcass, this is put together. Our tray for the top fits in there nicely. I trimmed it down while you weren't looking, and that's good to go. So what we want to do with this, I'm going to sand this down. It'll be easier to take care of that before it's glued up, and then figure out our drawer runners for the drawer. Have those cut. I will just need to apply them, and basically the main idea is going to be put these little runners on the drawer and put these on here for it to slide on, and we'll need to get the spacing on all these right, but that's the next step, next couple of steps. So first thing we're going to do is everyone's favorite woodworking time, sanding. So this part I'm just going to take apart and sort of lay out the pieces individually. All right, so those parts are sanded. Let's deal with our drawer slides. So what I'm going to do is just take these pieces. These are going to go on the drawer. These are going to go on the carcass. And these are just offcut pieces. I'm going to smooth out these. This is 220. Yeah, 220 grit. And just so that's nice and smooth. We're going to wax those up before we actually apply them. So this way there's at least a nice smooth surface to ride against. So what I need to figure out is exactly how to place these guys. I think what we'll do is put just a little bit of something underneath there, because this piece and this piece aren't taking up the whole side. So I can raise this up a little bit so it's not sitting directly on the surface. And then I can glue that down. So here's what we're going to do. I've got some offcuts of 1/8 inch Baltic birch ply, and we're going to use that to then raise up our slides here on that. So they're 1/8 of an inch up. And I can put these basically all the way back. Where is our glue? There's the glue. And we'll glue these up. Glue the rails on here. Let's take the back off here, and then that way I'll be able to clamp these guys down on both sides. Let's take those out of there so they don't get glued to the bottom, and we'll let those set up. So here's what we're working on now with this, which is the drawer. And I've got it so that it slides in and out, which is nice, but it's not closing because this side's just catching a little bit. It looks like it's just this part up at the top, so let's figure out how we can clean that up. And I think maybe the best one's actually going to be just to do a plane across the top. So probably what we'll do here then, let's see. No, this is live problem solving, folks. I think what we want to use here is just going to be the plane, so let's take it to the planing station, for lack of a better word. Alright, let's try that. Let's see how it works now. A little bit better, still not quite there, so we're going to do a little bit more with the block plane. Alright, so we're right on the edge of being able to fit, so we'll switch from the plane to some sandpaper just to smooth that out and bring that in. Alright, that's good. So I think really our next steps are just going to be to put some tung oil on these bits, maybe even glue up the carcass here. Can't think of what else we need to finish on this part. I guess we'll need to put on the runners on the drawer. That's what else we need to finish. So I'll do that next. Okay, so here's what we're looking at now, is we need to get our slides onto the side of the drawer. So what I've done, let's see if we can figure out a way you can see this, is I'm going to put the actual slides on here, and I think what I'm going to do is apply some super glue to that side, activator on the drawer, and then get this in position and just slide the drawer over to it. And I think that should be enough to be able to get it some pressure to hold it, just enough to touch it there, and that'll hold it in place. And then with the activator and the super glue, it'll just be glued on there pretty much right away. Let's see if I can find something that I can put in behind there to help push that over a little bit and keep it in place where I want it. I think an 1/8 of an inch might be too big. Let me see what I've got here for 1/8 scraps. Or smaller. Here's a small scrap. Is this the right size? Too small. Because what I don't want to do is end up squeezing the two pieces together between the two sides. I'm going to put a clamp on this just to hold these two pieces together to keep it from sliding out as I put it together, just to make sure that that's the right size. Actually, if I do it the way I had this planned, as this slides back and makes contact, it'll set up and stick there, which is not what we want. I think if I can use these 1/8 inch spacers, I might be able to just use regular wood glue, that is. I know there's been a whole lot of sort of going, all right, I'm going to do this, then I'm going to do this, and then not actually doing any of it. This is one of those things that I want to get planned out so I get this right. This is my first time doing drawers like this, so I want to figure this out and get it right. So we'll try this. And if it doesn't work, we'll figure something else out. That's how I work. Alright, so those seem pretty stiff. We'll let those go and see how that works out for us. I'd prefer to be able to put some sort of clamp on them, but I don't know that I can get in there in a reasonable way to do so. Let's see if I can clamp just the whole thing down. Well, we'll let that set up and dry. Here's where we are now. Glue set up, drawer works. And I actually managed to catch myself before I glued these sides directly onto the interior. That's the way I had set up before as I was letting the glue dry. Any squeeze out from the glue was going to land directly on those and glue everything together, which is decidedly not what I wanted. So I managed to catch that before anything bad happened and got that cleaned up. And now they're on their, well, and it works as a drawer. I can even pick it up.